for a long time, you had what you personally describe as imposter syndrome. Tell us why.
Totally. Of course I had imposter syndrome. I didn't grow up in a family that went to fancy restaurants or knew the names of chefs. We went out to eat twice a month, once for pizza, once for Chinese or Thai. That was it. And I didn't know. I always loved to cook, but I didn't know you could have a career in food. I didn't go to culinary school. I never worked as a chef on the line anywhere. But I loved food and I collected cookbooks and I really explored food in my own way when I had the resources. So when I got to Top Chef, I had already done two other shows. I had done Padma's Passport and I had also done Planet Food, both for British television and for the Food Network. But I was surrounded by chefs like you, like Eric, like Danielle Boulud, and I felt, and also sitting next to Tom this whole time, I felt very much like maybe I shouldn't be there. Like, what did I know about food that was enough? And then, to be honest, one day Eric Ripert took me aside. And I will always love him for this because he probably doesn't even know. I mean, I think he knows because I told him, but he probably doesn't realize how big of an effect he had on me. And this was before I knew I was a super taster. He said, Padma, we don't cook for chefs, we cook for people. And your palate, he said, I have been on the show enough now. He said something to the effect of, your palate is better than most chefs that I've worked with or know. He said, so you rely on how the food tastes. You don't have to be a chef to know when the food is good or when the food is bad and what will make it better. And you tell them from your heart what you think. Don't worry about if anyone else is rolling their eyes or looking at you or whatever. It's their problem. It's not your problem. And it helped me so much, really, to have somebody who I looked up to that much who said something like that to me, And I think early on, a lot of people assumed that I got the job at that I got the job at Top Chef because we were the sister show to Project Runway, and they had a model hosting that who was Heidi Klum. And so I think people, because I came from the world of modeling, they just figured, oh, she's there too. They didn't realize I had had a couple of other shows because they weren't on very long, more than one season. And they didn't realize that I had experience hosting because I started my hosting career on Italian television, on Rai, on a live show when I was 27. And so, I think Bravo in those early days didn't do a good job of, making people understand who I was. And I also felt insecure. So I'm sure you saw that on the screen. And it really took me some time to figure out. Plus, the show is so formatted, it doesn't give you an opportunity to really show your personality. Sometimes my job means I have to sideline my own opinion or my personality to get the opinion of our guest judge who's only on for that episode, or elicit a conversation and kind of manage the traffic of the conversation at judges table. So but now I've been on TV for so long, and I through Taste the Nation, I think people have finally gotten to see a deeper, more full impression of who I am. And also, you do something long enough, hopefully you get better at it.